Ready to blast off on another deep dive?
Always up for a journey into the unknown.
Well, today's topic is definitely out of this world. Literally. We're talking about the International Space Station.
Ah, the ISS. A marvel of engineering and international cooperation.
That's what we're here to figure out. Some folks seem to think it's more like, well, a secret weapons platform armed with lasers.
Lasers, huh? Sounds like someone's been watching too many sci-fi movies.
Maybe. But hey, that's what makes this deep dive so interesting, right? We're diving into an excerpt titled The ISS Secret Weapons Platform or Scientific Marvel.
Intriguing title. I'm always up for a good debate.
Me too, especially when it involves space. So let's unpack this excerpt together and see what we find. You with me?
Absolutely. Let's separate fact from fiction.
Okay, so lasers shooting from space. I have to admit, it does sound a little far-fetched.
It's just a tad. You know, it's amazing how quickly misinformation can spread, especially online.
Oh, tell me about it. Remember that video that went viral a while back? The one that supposedly showed a laser beam firing from the ISS?
Oh, right. The infamous laser beam incident of 2018. Classic case of mistaken identity. Turns out it was just a lens flare.
A lens flare? Seriously?
Seriously. Light reflecting off the station's solar panels happens all the time in photography.
So no Death Star then?
Not quite. The ISS is far from a weapon. It's a testament to human collaboration.
Right. It's easy to forget that the ISS isn't just one country's project. We're talking about a global effort here.
Exactly. We have the US, Russia, Europe, Japan, Canada, all working together.
It's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it. Former Cold War rivals joining forces to build something in space.
Talk about burying the hatchet. It really highlights the power of science to bring people together.
Okay, but let's play devil's advocate for a moment. Let's say, hypothetically, that someone did want to weaponize space.
Hypothetically speaking, of course.
Of course. Would the ISS even be the place to do it?
Logically, it wouldn't make much sense. For one thing, the ISS isn't exactly a secret.
True. I mean, we're talking about it right now, and millions of people around the world can see it with their own eyes.
Exactly. It's not exactly inconspicuous. Plus, the ISS is designed for science and research, not warfare.
All right, fair enough. But while we're on the topic of secret missions, this excerpt also mentions something about military experiments happening on the ISS. What's the deal with that?
Ah, yes. The military experiments, always a favorite among conspiracy theorists.
So, what's the truth? Are they actually developing super soldier serums up there?
Not quite. While it's true that some projects on the ISS do have potential military applications,
Such as, don't leave me hanging.
think more along the lines of material science.
Material science. So less about building space lasers and more about, what? Improving materials for things here on Earth.
Exactly. They're studying how different materials behave in the extreme environment of space.
I never thought about it like that before.
It's all about pushing the boundaries of what we know and what we can do.
So what kind of materials are we talking about? Give me some examples.
They're developing lighter, stronger materials that could be used in everything from aircraft and spacecraft to, get this, medical devices.
Wow, that's actually pretty incredible. So the next generation of airplanes could be made with materials developed on the ISS.
You got it. And it's not just materials. They've also done some really interesting research on how flames behave in microgravity.
Wait, they're playing with fire in space?
In a controlled environment, of course. But seriously, this research has huge implications for fire safety here on Earth.
Okay, that makes sense. You don't want a fire breaking out on a space station.
Precisely. And another area they're really focusing on is communications technology.
Communications technology. So the ISS is helping us build a better internet.
Think of it this way. The ISS is essentially a giant satellite whizzing around the planet.
Makes sense.
They're using it as a platform to test new communication systems that could one day provide high-speed internet access to even the most remote corners of the globe.
Wow, that's amazing. Bridging the digital divide, all thanks to research done in space. It really makes you think about the impact the ISS is having on our lives in ways we don't even realize.
Exactly. And speaking of impact, let's not forget the real purpose of the ISS.
You mean, it's actually about science?
What gave it away?
Well, for one thing, this excerpt does mention that the ISS is essentially a giant orbiting science lab. I mean, they're doing research on everything up there: biology, physics, Earth observation, astronomy, you name it.
It's true. The ISS is like a giant floating laboratory in space. And the discoveries they're making, absolutely incredible.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Well, for starters, they're studying how plants grow in microgravity. This research could revolutionize agriculture, both here on Earth and potentially even on future space missions.
Space farming. I love it. And it's not just about plants, right? The ISS has given us incredible insights into how the human body adapts to space.
Absolutely. We've learned so much about the effects of microgravity on everything from bone density to eyesight.
I remember reading somewhere that astronauts often experience changes in their vision while they're up there. Is that true?
It is. And figuring out why that happens could lead to breakthroughs in treating eye conditions right here on Earth.
Fascinating. It's like this one incredible space station is pushing the boundaries of human knowledge in so many different directions.
It really is a testament to human ingenuity and our insatiable curiosity.
But it's more than just the science, wouldn't you say? I mean, the ISS itself is a testament to something bigger, something, well, more human.
You're absolutely right. It goes beyond the scientific discoveries. The ISS is a shining example of what humanity can achieve when we work together.
It really is a beacon of international cooperation, especially crucial in today's world.
Gives me hope for the future, you know? Seeing so many different countries coming together, putting aside their differences to achieve something truly remarkable.
Right. Makes you wonder what other amazing things we could accomplish if we approached global challenges with that same spirit of collaboration.
Now, there's a thought. It's more than just feel-good symbolism, though. This level of cooperation in space, it's led to some seriously practical benefits, too.
How so?
Well, think about it. You've got engineers from all these different countries speaking different languages, trained in different ways, and they've had to figure out how to work together seamlessly to keep this incredibly complex station running.
That's a really good point. I bet there were some interesting cultural exchanges along the way, too.
Oh, I'm sure. But that's a whole other deep dive. For now, how about we tackle some of those persistent ISS myths?
You mean like the one where the government is using it to spy on us all?
Well, that one too, but I was thinking of some even more out there claims.
Oh, you mean like the space lasers?
Those are a classic, but how about this? You can't even see the ISS from Earth.
Wait, really? I could have sworn I saw it in the sky just the other night.
And you probably did. That's the thing about this myth, it's totally false.
So you can see it with the naked eye?
Absolutely. On a clear night, the ISS is actually one of the brightest objects in the sky.
No way. Had no idea.
Most people just mistake it for a fast-moving star, but it's often even brighter than Venus.
Okay, my mind is officially blown. All this time, I just assumed it was too small to be visible from that far away.
And it's not just a fleeting glimpse either. The ISS actually makes multiple orbits around Earth every single day.
So theoretically, you could see it multiple times in one night.
Exactly. There's even a website, Spot the Station, run by NASA. You just put in your location, and it tells you exactly when the ISS will be visible in your area.
Wow, I am definitely checking that out. Okay, what other ISS myths are we busting today?
All right, how about this one? Astronauts on the ISS experience zero gravity.
Yeah, they're always floating around. It's not like gravity just stops working up there.
You're right that they're floating, but it's not actually zero gravity. It's more accurate to call it microgravity.
Microgravity.
It's a subtle but important distinction.
I'm all ears.
Basically, they're experiencing a constant state of free fall, which creates the sensation of weightlessness.
So they're falling, but they never hit the ground because they're also moving so fast horizontally.
Exactly. They're still subject to about 90% of Earth's gravity up there.
90%, but they're floating around. How does that work?
It's all about physics. The ISS is orbiting Earth at such a high speed that it's essentially always falling around the Earth, never quite hitting the ground.
So it's like they're perpetually on the verge of falling, but never actually do.
You got it. It's like if you threw a ball so fast that as it falls, it keeps missing the Earth because of its curvature.
Mind-blowing.
Right. But here's the thing. Even though it's not true zero gravity, this microgravity environment still creates some unique challenges.
Like what?
Well, for one, their bodies are still subject to the long-term effects of reduced gravity, which is why they have to exercise for hours every day.
Yeah, I've heard about the bone loss and muscle atrophy astronauts experience in space.
It's a serious concern, and it's why understanding the nuances of microgravity is so crucial for longer duration missions, like a trip to Mars, for example.
Like their bodies are part of the experiment, too.
In a way, yes.
That's wild. Okay, do we have time for one more myth?
Sure, how about this one? Living on the ISS is like staying in a luxury hotel.
Wait, are you serious? Some people actually believe that.
You'd be surprised. I think it's easy to get caught up in the romanticized version of space travel.
Yeah, you see those pictures of astronauts floating around, eating space ice cream, looking out at the Earth. It looks pretty idyllic.
And don't get me wrong, the view is undoubtedly spectacular. But the reality is, Living on the ISS is far from a walk in the park, or a float in space, as it were.
So no space butlers or zero-gravity swimming pools?
Not quite. We're talking cramped quarters, recycled air, and let's not even get into the challenges of going to the bathroom in space.
Okay, yeah, you've officially burst my bubble. It's still an incredible feat of engineering and human endurance, though.
Absolutely. These are incredibly dedicated individuals making huge sacrifices in the name of science and exploration.
They're true pioneers, pushing the boundaries of human knowledge and experience.
Speaking of pushing boundaries, it does make you wonder about the future of the ISS, doesn't it?
Right. It does make you wonder what's next for this incredible orbiting laboratory.
Well, as with all good things, even the ISS has a limited lifespan.
Really? I always sort of imagined it would just stay up there forever, like a permanent fixture in the sky.
It would be amazing if it could, wouldn't it? But the reality is, even the most robust structures degrade over time. Plus, the technology on board becomes outdated. As it stands, the ISS is currently funded until 2024.
2024? Wow, that's coming up fast.
It is. Though there is talk of a possible extension to 2028.
Okay, so a few more years, maybe. But then what? What happens to the ISS when it's time for it to retire?
Well, it's not like we can just leave it up there to become space junk.
That's true. So what are the options?
A controlled deorbit back into Earth's atmosphere is a possibility.
You mean they'd crash it on purpose?
In a controlled manner, of course.
Yeah.
They'd aim for a remote area of the ocean, like the spacecraft graveyard in the South Pacific.
Okay, that makes sense. Still, it seems kind of sad to just destroy something so iconic.
I agree, which is why there's growing interest in exploring alternative solutions.
Such as?
Well, some experts have proposed handing over control of the ISS to private companies.
Really? Like turning it into a dot space hotel?
Maybe not a hotel in the traditional sense, but perhaps a platform for commercial research or even space tourism.
Wow, now that would be something. Imagine getting to spend a week on the ISS, conducting your own experiments, looking down at Earth.
The possibilities are pretty exciting when you think about it.
It really makes you wonder what the future holds for space exploration.
And how the legacy of the ISS will shape those future endeavors.
It's been more than just a science project, hasn't it? It's been this incredible testament to human ingenuity, cooperation, and our innate desire to explore the unknown.
It really has, and it's something I think we can all draw inspiration from, no matter what our background or beliefs may be.
Absolutely. And on that note, we'd love to hear from you, our listeners. If you had the chance to send an experiment to the ISS, what would it be and why? What mysteries of space, or even of ourselves, would you want to solve? Head over to our social media pages and share your thoughts. Until next time, keep looking up, keep asking questions, and never stop exploring.